Hi guys, thanks for joining me. This is Kathryn. I'm a cybersecurity consultant in Tokyo, Japan. Today I am going to be talking about what it's like being a cybersecurity consultant in Japan, especially in Tokyo. Before I start talking, it's Friday night, so I'm going to open a bottle of wine. And while having a nice drink, I would like to talk about how it's like being a consultant in Tokyo, what language do I use, how do I interact with clients, and I get a lot of questions from people around the world, from platforms such as LinkedIn asking me what's it like being a consultant in Japan, and also, some people are considering moving to Japan and working as a consultant in Japan. So if I can share a bit of information on how you can make the move, do I recommend it, do I not, and what sort of roles are available and how you can get the job as well. So let's begin. So first thing is, what is it like as a cybersecurity consultant in Japan? So I'm just going to talk about my experience. So I've been in IT for a year and over a year and a half, I want to say, but about a year and 8 months, almost close to 2 years. And I just changed my job, and now I'm a full-time cybersecurity consultant. But previous to my current position, I was a IT consultant at a IT vendor. And specializing in security solutions. So in that position, I was focusing on the IAM solutions, the identity and access management. So that was my focus, and then I changed jobs, and now I do all sorts of things, including, of course, the IAM systems and risk assessments, CPA assessments, the SOC transformation, DLP solutions, basically everything. Cheers. So anyways, so my job is quite diverse right now. But as a cybersecurity consultant, right now I'm managing projects as well for our client. So in Japan, I think it's quite uncommon to stick to one domain, even though you're hired as that specialist. So I was hired as an IAM specialist, but I ended up doing all kinds of stuff. So I think it's quite different from North America, where if you're hired as a privacy consultant, you'll stick to focusing on privacy. But I think especially in Japan, since there's really not enough people in cybersecurity, so if you have even a little bit of experience, or even without experience, they'll just sort of make you do everything. So which is great for me, because I like to explore and I like working in multiple domains. So in my case, it's great, but maybe for some people it might not be what you expect. So that's that. And what kind of language do I use in my workplace? As a consultant, most of our clients are Japanese, based in Japan. Sometimes we have clients outside of Japan as well, but usually it's in Japan. They're all in Japan. So we communicate and make documents, slides in Japanese, and explain everything in Japanese. And the thing important fact, or the thing that you should keep in mind, is that just even if you speak like a bit of Japanese, it's not going to be enough as a consultant because they really focus on each words and how specific you use the words. So yeah, as a consultant, you sort of, that's part of the value that you can provide. How precise can you describe something? How, yeah, how in detail can you make the documents? And that's one of the values that we provide. So even if you speak okay Japanese, you're not gonna be, I wouldn't say good enough, but maybe the clients won't be too satisfied. Yeah, if you're hired as a consultant. So you have to be, well, business level fluent in Japanese at least. Yeah, if you want to work as a cybersecurity consultant in Japan. But well, if you're not a consultant, say like if you're a technical specialist, come helping with the working alongside the consultant, then I think the Japanese level doesn't have to be that high. You know, we have some colleagues whose Japanese is, some don't speak any Japanese and some sort of do, but yeah, they sort of need to, it depends, like, well, it depends on the level of their Japanese, but yeah, they do what they can. But I think it would be a huge, you would be allowed to do so much more and basically everything if you speak Japanese to the business level. Yeah, but it's not impossible getting a job in Japan as a, in the cyber domain, but maybe a little bit, you have maybe less choice if you have limited Japanese language level. So yeah, I don't look too Japanese, but my mother's Japanese and I grew up in Japan, so for me it's no problem. But if you're considering becoming a cybersecurity consultant, then you might have to keep that in mind. Yeah, and what else can I talk about? Oh yeah, how can you get a job as a cybersecurity consultant in Japan? I get asked this quite often. Do you get an agent? Where can I find the perfect agent? Do I apply directly to the company from the company website, etc.? My answer is, well, I applied in Japanese and I did use a agent who only speaks Japanese. So in my case, I did use an agent, but I also applied directly to some of the companies. And so I did two approaches, but I didn't have like an English speaking, non-Japanese speaker agent. I did talk to a few, yeah, but I didn't really work with them and then get a job through them. So I can't really give you an advice on which agent you should use or if this is a solid path. But I think one thing I can say is that using an agent, it made it lot a lot of things easier because they handle with contacting the companies and they just give you the relevant information. So it was a lot easier, and they also give you advice on how you should prepare for the interview and all that. So that was good. But well, I got an offer from few companies without using the agents too, and the good thing about Japanese companies is that it's not like applying in North America where you apply to like 20, 30, even hundreds of like companies and you don't even get a rejection mail. And maybe you get like 2 or 3 replies. It's not like that. If you apply, you would usually most definitely get a reply from the companies within a week, of saying like, we're not going to consider you further on, or please get ready for the next interview or whatever. So yeah, at least in my experience and also talking to my colleagues and people around me, it's just pretty normal to get a reply within a week if you apply. So I think just applying through the company homepage is one option. And yeah, so that's that. But one thing you need to consider is that, say your Japanese level was pretty okay and you can read Japanese and apply through the company website, which is all written in Japanese. Usually they would assume that you'll be conducting your daily work in Japanese. So even if you get hired, then they will expect you to do everything in Japanese. So it might be not too great to apply to those positions if you don't want to be working in Japanese, or if you're not confident enough to be working in Japanese. So my advice is, when you go to the company homepage, you look for the job postings that's written in English and doesn't say, like, if it says just beginner level Japanese or Japanese not required, then that's fine. But if it says fluent Japanese also written in the description, then that's a red sign if you don't speak that much Japanese. So go to the company website, look for postings written in English that doesn't require Japanese language skills. That would be the best place to apply. Yeah, in my opinion. And yeah, another thing I just recently discovered is that if you're active on LinkedIn, you might get some mails or emails from the recruiters in cybersecurity, which it's half and half. Some are just copy and pasting and some are actually pretty good. So if you're not too sure, like, if they're a good recruiter or not, just talk to them and see if they actually know some cyber teams that they have in mind, or cyber teams that they have in mind to introduce to you, or yeah, what they know, and see if it's actually going to work out for you. So I think talking to recruiters through LinkedIn might be one option, and then maybe they'll introduce you to cybersecurity meetups in Tokyo or some groups. And yeah, so I think LinkedIn is one way to do it. I didn't do it, but I talked to a few recruiters and I actually found a few good ones. So yeah, that might be one way of doing it. Yeah, that's that. Yeah, another thing I want to talk about is how is it like working in a Japanese a company? Well, so the company I work for now is one of the big four, so it's not exactly a Japanese company, but it's based in Japan and we work with Japanese clients. So I'm just going to talk about how it's like working in Japan as a cyber consultant. But yeah, clients could be quite particular about how you dress, how you act. Like, it was kind of funny the other day. One of my colleagues, actually, he pointed out to me, like, I had my legs crossed, and he just tapped me on the shoulder and said, like, that's really rude, you really should never do that. And I was like, yeah, yes, it is kind of rude, but they go very crazy about, like, the little details of, like, how you sit and how you talk to the clients and how you dress and all that. So I don't know if that bothers you too much. I got used to it, so yeah, I was like, what the hell? But still, it makes sense, you know. Some clients might not be too happy with how you act, so you really need to. It's the same in every country, but I think in Japan it could be a little bit intense. Yeah, so that does bother me a little bit sometimes, but if you're gonna get used to it, it's fine. And yeah, another thing is, well, so the cybersecurity is not that advanced in Japan. We're very behind with many of the domains and regulations. So yeah, it's kind of interesting. I'm the only one who has a CISSP in the team that I'm working with right now. Our partner, who's the top of our firm in Japan, he has a CISSP, but other than him, I don't know anybody in our team who's got a CISSP. Or yeah, and so I think this is just how I feel, but people aren't too competitive or that too passionate about cybersecurity. I really like learning more and developing more skills, but that's not the case with everybody. I think people are pretty chilled and laid back. So if you want to be in a competitive environment, if you're working as a consultant, it might not be that interesting. I don't know what you look for in a job, but usually, in cybersecurity, people are very excited about their jobs and like to share more knowledge and develop more and more. So if you're expecting that, you may be a little bit disappointed and feel like maybe you're leading in the whole team. But yeah, that's that. But if you look on the bright side, if you're the only one who's really passionate about what you're doing, it means that you get to think more and give ideas to the whole team and sort of lead the team in the direction you want. So you get to try and error with, well, with each project. So maybe if in North America, your boss usually makes the strategy and you have to wait a few years until you get to do some management work. Might be, if you're kind of an impatient person, I'm sort of am. So in that case, you might be a bit, I don't know, like you're just waiting and hoping that you'll get to do what you actually want to do. You might be a bit impatient, but yeah, if you're someone very passionate, active, and have lots of ideas that you want to try, Japan might be quite fun because people are very happy with you trying to do more, and I guess I don't know if they'll work with you. You'll have to be creative and you have to have your strategy because well, I guess it's the same everywhere. You can't do everything on your own, so you have to somehow involve everybody into what you want to do. But yeah, so in that sense, it's kind of fun. I enjoy doing that, even though, I have not so much experience. I get to experience a lot of the things that people don't get to do in their second year of working. So yeah, Japan in that sense is still developing it in the cyberspace. So you might really, really like it if you like to lead and create a new path. If you're that sort of person, it might be a fun place. Yeah. Relating to that, the workplace itself, I think, compared to like 10, 20 years ago, if you're in the cyber domain, you don't really need to, as I've already talked about, you don't really need to wait for a few years until you get to try and do a lot of things. So yeah, it's like you're doing exactly the same thing as like someone who's 30, 20 years older than you. If you have the knowledge, if you have the skill, if you have the will to do it, they'll let you do it. So, well, in that sense, it might be like the best place to grow in the fastest pace. So, if you want to boost your career, I don't know if that's the correct word, but yeah, if you want that, Japan might be fun. Yeah, so that's that. But one last thing is the location is a sort of a problem in Japan, but most of the jobs are in Tokyo and Osaka, and well, with cybersecurity, especially because all our clients are mostly in Tokyo or Osaka, if you want to work any cities outside of those, it might be quite hard to find a position in cyber. Uh, if it's in Japanese, you might have a chance, but if you just want to work in English, you probably have, well, this is my opinion, but probably zero chance. So if you're hoping to move to Japan, it's either going to be Tokyo or Osaka. So I think you should keep that in mind. But yeah, Tokyo is a fun city. There's a lot of things going on. So yeah, if you're thinking about moving, I definitely would, yeah, it's a good place to be for a few years. Some people love it, some people get tired of it, but you gotta come over and see. So yeah. Cheers to everybody. Have a nice day. Bye bye. Thanks for watching.